Backseat Drivers time.
Good evening. Welcome to Backseat Drivers number 13 for 2024. Woo! The one where we all get $400 million offers for design Lancer car for some years.
That is the funniest thing ever because
it's unbelievable.
You've got the dumbest man in F1 and arguably one of the smartest men in F1, and they're going to be and Lance will come up to him and go, you know, my dad pays your salaries, and he's like, you know what? Change your plans. I'm going to work for Alpine now. I don't even care anymore. I would rather work somewhere else than have, you know, those companies, Dave, where it's like the CEO walks around and then the idiot son has a corner office. I'm like, why does he have a corner office? Shut up, my dad owns this company. He could fire you. I'm the best. Now, did anyone see me race on the weekend? I almost scored some points. So, you know, where's my ice cream? I deserve some ice cream now.
Yeah. In short, it's a ridiculous amount of money if it's true. And will we see improvement out of them?
No.
Enough?
I think the problem that most teams will find is Adrian will probably want all like 100% artistic control. And I think with Red Bull, when they started, they were like, we're a cool team. We do whatever we want. Adrian, if you want to run all of that, you do it because you're rad and we're a sick young team. But
yeah, but I think as well, like Red Bull didn't have, like it was a very, I'd say, immature design department when he came across. And he's built that up, you know, to the point where it is now. Whereas for, that doesn't work so good with cutting Bully off screen. But say like he's coming into Aston Martin now, where it's Dan Fellows is there, he went there from Red Bull to get out from underneath Adrian Newey, and then you know then that coming it definitely well, I would imagine it destabilizes the team that's being built there. Is it Dan Fellows or Pete Promigue?
I thought Dan Fellows was about to leave the green team, and someone's going to poach him.
Well, see, that's what you open yourself up to then. With that, yeah.
Because that's why I heard he wasn't going to Ferrari, because it's widely known that Ferrari is a committee, and even if Adrian was like, I'm going to do this, I've got my giant drawing board and stuff. They're like, that's really cool, but this is. You know, Luigi, Mario, and Giotto, and you need to explain to them why you're putting in, you know, this. And he's like, I'm doing it because I am. And they're like, well, we're going to have 8 meetings to discuss this. And he's like, I don't have time for this. I'm going to go back to my drawings. Look, here's a picture of you and me punching you in the face. That's me, aerodynamically punching you right in the gob. I don't have time for this. And then he would think to himself, it could be worse. I could be working for that idiot Stroll. And then he wakes up from his desk. He's like, no, it was all a dream. I do work for that. Lance needs his orange juice because he's getting his afternoon sleepy time and he needs a bit of his sugar to kick his blood sugar up.
Oh, jeez.
I think the problem is old green team want to have a championship team as soon as they start in when's the new sponsorship and stuff kick in? Because there's that new sponsor that are like, we want to be champions from day one as soon as we come over. But they basically said, we want to be a championship team. We want to be competing for constructors, you know, straight away.
Apex.
Is it Apex? Oh, yeah. How are they gonna, you know, compete for anything when they literally have the biggest handicap on the grid? I give crap to the other, you know, the other forgotten, you know, bottom team, but I would still take a sergeant over a Lance just purely because no one seems to hate Logan, but everyone hates Stroll, and I think he's not great for the team.
Yeah, well, I think people hate Stroll because of the.
Well, they're forced to like him.
Yeah. And I think
there's
the fear if you say anything against him, you get fired.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. No one's going to be like, hey, what are you guys doing after work? Oh, nothing, Lance. I'm just going to have a quiet one. And they're like, oh, I heard there was a party. No party. No, we're all going home. Just a quiet night. Just gonna put my feet up and maybe have a cup of tea. Why are you wearing party shoes? Oh no, unrelated. These are the shoes I always wear to work.
I've been wearing these all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can say is next year there's going to be so much scrutiny of Stroll. It's going to be unbelievable.
Well, why would it? It will be.
The problem is now you've got Checo and that doing all this other crap, and other drivers at the moment that they're saying stuff about. But next step is going to be, the focus will be on Stroll.
That's the problem that it really highlights, especially if the car's good and Alonso's battling. All of a sudden, then you'll have a motivated Alonso, and you'll have that difference like at the moment that Red Bull has, where where Checo's seconds off the pace. You'll have the same thing with Stroll being off the pace.
Considering other drivers got fired for less.
Yeah, but the problem is Lance is, as we've found out, well and truly protected.
No, it's not that. I'm
Checo level.
Checo.
Yeah, but the problem is, as we've seen, they obviously Checo's got his secret Mexican overlords looking after him, but. I don't think Papa Stroll's suddenly going to change his mind now. In his mind, he's thinking, great, my son will finally get the car that he deserves. And then I wouldn't be surprised if there is blame on Adrian that the car is not designed for Lance's driving style, which I believe is sideways into a wall. But I don't know how you aerodynamically fix a car to do better sideways into a wall.
But it shows his commitment because he crashed.
True.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just wondering, Dave, who was the designer when old Mazepin was the did he give any? He's like, when I spin around clockwise, I really feel the G's, and I've got to but when it's anti-clockwise, it's much nicer. It's like I still reckon there will be butting of heads where Papa Stroll, because I get the impression Papa Stroll is delusional. Let's be honest. If he wasn't, his son would have been fired. He would have gone, "Hey son, I'm going to buy a world endurance, team, and you can drive that." And he'd be like, "What about my F1 dream?" He's like, "I think it's time to. It's gone. I'm going to go hire Vettel again because he's too busy. He's not really busy, and we can have an old person team." And you can go do whatever you want. But Dad, I want to drive F1. He goes, anything but F1. you can do world endurance. I'll make a rally team. I don't even care. I've got the money.
Yeah.
Houses cost the most amount of money.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was Checo. He hasn't had that many. He hasn't had a big one this year, though, has he?
Has it just been a bunch of little guys?
Yeah, well, he did Ricardo stopped in front of him for no reason.
What a jerk. I mean,
in China.
If only, Dave, there was a way you could tell if a car in front of you was going slower. It's almost like the distance would have got smaller and paying attention.
But usually, I've played. I haven't actually driven a Formula 1 car, but I've played Formula 1 games, and usually, what happens into a corner is you apply the brakes and slow down.
Yeah, and then you turn, right?
Usually. Well, it was before the corner that the impact happened, so the turning didn't even come into it.
the thing you're forgetting, Dave, is when you're talking about it, that's at high speed. That's at 100% race speed.
Yeah.
I believe this was under a safety car, which is what 10% of the total speed. So it's almost like it happened in slow motion.
Yeah. Well, everyone else was in slow motion. He was just.
Did Lamb think he found a loophole? And he's like, everyone's going slow. Time to shine. Whee!
Why did they all stop?
But like that kind of stuff, the fact that the whole team had to blindly defend him just shows how, like, you're right. They're probably told. And the problem is, from the sounds of it, Adrian Newey butts heads with a lot of people. Like, he's very clever, but from what it sounds like, he has butted heads with a lot of upper management.
I think say like with the Williams thing originally.
Yeah.
I think they made some promises to him that he would be more part in the overall, like, although they weren't going to give him an ownership stake or anything, or the opportunity to have ownership. They on the train.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Although they weren't going to give him an ownership stake, he was going to have a seat on the table at the decision making with, Frank Williams and Patrick Head, who were the two owners. And then they went and made decisions behind his back that he didn't agree with.
But that's what I can see happening.
I think he probably had similar kind of promises going to McLaren as well. And then, I mean, it's unlike McLaren to lie to get someone to turn up.
What? Outrageous,
one legacy from the Ron Dennis era that Zach Brown's really kind of. It's a lot more cuddly McLaren now, but I think, so some of the stories being, especially drivers in IndyCar.
Yeah. All right.
I feel like a lot of
once this year.
Who has?
Sorry?
Lance has only retired once this year.
You know how many times he actually needs to retire, Boovy? Just once. At the end of the season, he goes, I've retired. And then what will happen? Everyone will cheer. And then a junior driver will be like, maybe it's my turn. And then that's when Helmet says, no seat for you here. You're going over to the green team. That
would actually be interesting at this point, which they signed a 2-year contract with Lance. But it would actually be interesting if he now turned around and said, okay, I'm going to go off and do WEC, whatever. I'll retire from Formula One at the end of the year. Now that you've got like science locked up, most of the other positions are kind of in their place. Who would you go for?
Oh, would you get a young kid that Alonso could train?
Well, do you grab somebody?
You know what I'd almost do especially for 2025. From what I've heard, 2025 for Aston Martin is done, right? I would try to poach either who's the F2 kid from Red Bull?
Adja.
Yeah, I'd just take him. I'd be like, you know what?
I think he'll be tied to Red Bull at the moment, I think.
Yeah, but Dave, he's tied to Red Bull, and then at the end of like 2026, Helmut's like, I've got you a seat, and he's like, see my previous Twitter account when you said that I'll be riding for Red Bull. Actually, I'm riding with Alonso at the ripe old age of 46. We have an average age of 30 because I am a 12-year-old kid who somehow can ride an F1 car. I'm not jealous, Dave, but he's like, 14 years old, and he's already tearing it up in F2.
Older than that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He's in his early 20s.
Yeah. Sure he is. I'd ask him
the thing is, the young one, Kimi Antonelli.
Kimi's the youngest one.
But who does Papa Stroll have like a feeder F2 team?
No.
Or did he get rid of that after his son
Aston
moved
don't.
up?
No, they never really had one, I don't think.
I thought they
Something
bought
just
they bought Williams parts for the Prema, or is that never his?
Yeah, so Prema he was pumping money into while he was there.
But he never
But then-
owned it.
No, he was only like funding a couple of seats there.
What
Like,
if?
teammates to drive behind Lance.
Yeah. Well, what about Dave? Supposedly, I've heard all the big announcements are coming in September. Like they're announcing big names. If Lance decided to quit, or
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? It turns out no one really wants me here.
In a dreamlit world.
Yeah.
He's pushed out.
And let's pretend Helmut Marko doesn't keep his word because and he said to Liam, "Hey Liam, you're done." Would he go over to Papa Stroll's team?
If he hasn't already been outed.
That's
I
true, too.
reckon he's had meetings with most of the teams
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I reckon Audi's probably spoken to him, and I reckon
I do-
another team's probably spoken to him about being a third driver. Probably not getting a seat.
Yeah, I think Audi would probably be the one for that.
Yeah.
Because really, what do we got? Alpine has a seat,
Yeah.
which I
got
think
that
that's
out.
probably going to go to Jack.
Yep, I thought they already decided that exactly.
Mercedes has still got a
It
seat.
hasn't been. Yeah, but the Mercedes seat is Kimi Antonelli's if they can't
They're
get.
saying that, but I just
Verstappen.
wait until it gets announced. It's
Yeah.
still got it as to be considered.
But they're not going
It's
to.
his name.
Mercedes won't
Maybe.
get Lawson over
Yeah,
Kimi.
Antonelli.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't think they're still getting Max, do they?
Well, I think that's the only reason at the moment why they probably haven't signed Antonelli.
And
So they
But the problem
They
is
essentially make
Max, that'll be 2026. It wouldn't be this year. It wouldn't be next year.
if Max can still get out
Okay, fair enough.
he's got
if
the
he wants.
performance.
So Max's contract I think runs to the end of 2027.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like an
So-
8-year contract.
Yeah, they did. It was a big extension on it whenever it was done.
But doesn't he have
Um,
like performance clauses as well? So
Yeah.
suppose
Yeah.
if they don't win the constructors championship, he could be like, well,
Yeah.
you didn't do your part.
I think, and there'd also be like, I'd say a clause would have been triggered with Newey leaving
Oh,
because there's like a key personnel clause in that one. Because apparently there was the talk that if Marco walked, that was enough to trigger an exit clause on it. So they'd have if Marco was enough to trigger an exit clause, like Newey would have to.
that was my
be-
other question,
yeah.
Dave. You know how you said that for the cost cap, you get
Yep.
your three most expensive personnel. So did that include drivers, or is that just three?
No, so you got the two drivers and then top three
So
personnel.
if Newey goes over to Papa Stroll's team,
Yep.
would he'd easily be one of the top three, right?
Of course.
He's outside wherever Newey goes. He's outside the cost cap.
cost cap.
I would have assumed that you just be like whichever team. That's why like an Alpine or a Williams at this point is not.
The problem is, and like with Rob Marshall going to Audi, like from Red Bull, is the issue then is if you've got like, I'm trying to think that, say you've got your three, if you're number 4, all of a sudden you're under the cost cap and it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
So if you can, if you're in that top 3 where Red Bull would have been Newey, Horner, and then I'm not sure who the third one.
What's her name? Schmidt? She'd be up there.
Nah,
No.
should be under cost cap. Yeah. But then it just that brings your earning capacity with that team, and then plus also he wanted to, move into a more senior management position. All of a sudden, you got Audi. You come outside the cost cap, so all of it, you go from even you might be, the very top could be towards $1 million a year anyway. Like the number 4 employee in the team could be, $1 million.
It's still beginning of
But
money, yeah.
you go to outside cost cap, and all of a sudden there would be a jump. Like you'd probably go to, potentially like $5 million a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and that's been the problem with Red Bull as well, though. You've got a lot of long-term employees that have done extremely well with the company. So they would have had, pay increases all the way through as they worked up. And then you can't, that's it, because you're full. You can't then backfill down below to bring people up. And that's why they're saying, like, the Newey thing, and that will be a loss. But it does mean that you've got that opportunity then to bring on. It frees up, say, 10 people in the cost cap for losing one.
Well, Dave, as I said, Christian Horner might be going at the end of the year.
Well, that's when I don't think he is.
Oh, I don't think he is. I think it's just fun that I can make up stupid stuff without any consequences.
I think now that they've lost the natural successor for that role, that then you're not pushing, because there would have been talks and whatever, and they're letting him work through to the end of the year, etc. If there hadn't have been a bit of pre-chat on all this, it would have been, you're out the door now. You don't do anything with us.
You reckon Newey would have been team principal if Horner left?
No, it is Rob Marshall, isn't it, that's going to Audi to run. Yeah. He would have, if Horner had walked out or been kicked out straight away, he would have moved into that role.
Are you sure that maybe what happened is, it is a mid-year prediction. I predicted it a while ago. I still reckon they've spoken to him and said, this WhatsApp thing is not over. We will let you sort everything out. And then I think when Newey quit, it screwed everything up. Because I reckon if Newey didn't leave, they would have gone, well, we've got one of you. I reckon he's been saved by the fact that many people are leaving and they need to keep upper management. And they'll probably look to find out what, because now that Newey's gone and what's his face is left, would they be, they'd have, like you said, they'd have to be in the top 3, 4, 5. So now do you promote some people from within, or do you poach?
Well, it's hard to know. You don't know the depth of talent within the teams, but you do, all of a sudden now you can promote some of those people that were underneath, and possibly give pay rises and probably bring in some new people. Yeah.
Who are you saying that went to Audi?
I thought it was Rob Marshall.
No, Jonathan Wheatley.
That's it, Jonathan Wheatley. Rob Marshall's the head mechanic, isn't he?
I think
Jonathan Wheatley was team manager or something.
Team manager,
so Dave,
But I think there's also talk of Rob Marshall talking to someone else.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So Dave, would you then, if you're Red Bull, everyone you promote who's not in your top 3, are you then concerned that in like 3 years' time, because the Red Bull F1 Academy, we'll call it, of engineers is so good that, let's say I'm number 4, right? I'm number 4 engineer, and you're the race, you're the team principal. You're like, Matt's really good. We've got him just at number 4. We can't give him anything else. All of a sudden, Haas comes around. They're like, we really need a new engineer, and you'll be like,
And that's where the cost cap. You see it in your ball sports, where you can't. It essentially limits you from having a team of A-grade players, because you can't spend enough to keep all of them happy. And
are you
that's
not
with
concerned? You're going to be. They're always going to be. If you're not in the salary free area, your number 4 will always be looking at like maybe a smaller team that could pay you more because they're like, you can get 1 million at Red Bull, yeah, it'll be really good. Or Haas can come along and go, we'll give you 4 million to be a team principal, and you're like, well, this looks good on the resume, and I've got 4 times as much money.
Yeah, which that's always an issue. But then also you'll have some people that don't have those kind of aspirations to move up, and then also you'd be looking at it at the point now, depending where you are in that level of working up, that obviously Horner's not going to be there forever. Whereas, say Jonathan Wheatley, he's probably at that point in his life where he needs to move into that role, or he gets stuck in that level for the rest of it. And there was no promotion for him in Red Bull, but the next person coming through that you might be talking 3, 4, 5 years down the line, that it might be time where Horner goes, right, it's time for me to move on. I've found my third wife, where
I'm now married to Scary Spice.
Yeah, but like that's what happened. Mercedes had a similar issue where they have lost a lot of key people over the last few years, and like James Vowles, where and he was probably someone. He was potentially outside the cost cap, but you've got someone who definitely like he needs to move into that team principal role. That Toto's not stepping aside, so you've then got to look outside of Mercedes too.
It's Toto's team though, isn't it? Doesn't he actually legitimately own?
Yeah, he owns part of it, but you can also then step back and go, well, you can run the team.
Yeah, but I feel like he's going to be there longer than Horner will be.
Depends.
That one's a bit because I think he's probably got more potential to in a couple of years' time when he wins Lewis's whatever 9th championship or whatever he's promised him. That kind of one's fallen in a bit of a heap, but I can see him kind of getting to the point and going, right, I'm 60 years old, time to go pumpernickel farming. Whereas I think Horner will be one of those ones that will hang on probably too long. Like
what's his name? Williams. He'll just to the very end.
Yeah, I think but like Horner will, I think will probably be contract not extended. Whereas I can, and as much as I think I'd probably prefer to work for Horner rather than Wolf. I can see Wolf kind of. Yeah, I think so.
I reckon Toto would be.
No,
it would be very stressful, but I reckon. Yeah. I reckon the awkward Horner, like every time he spoke to like I've seen video where they're like they interviewed Ricardo and Weber and stuff, and they're like, oh, here's the Horner's meeting room, and then they're like, Max, have they gone, Dan? Have you ever been here? Yeah, he goes, 2018, we had a little, and then he goes, that was an awkward chat. But then when you like speak to George or Lewis, they're like, have you had chats? And he goes, we had words. It always sounds like it was, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed at you. Whereas Horner would be like, it would just be I reckon it would be the most awkward.
But
dressing down from him.
I think the discipline would be different.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like Toto would be, like I said, I'm more disappointed in you two, whereas I feel like Horner would be very emotional, especially the 2018 bumpity bump. That would have been
I just get the impression that I would work better in the Red Bull environment than the Mercedes environment. I
think if you were a employee, like a random employee who was like, Matt, you're an engineer, Dave, you're working in, a windshield or whatever.
Yeah.
It would be the greatest place ever. If you were in any of the upper levels where it was like at the end of the race, why did why did Max's brakes catch on fire? And they're like, Matt, you're head of, brakes and aerodynamics. You'd be.
I'm pretty realistic. I'm not going to be lead engineer, if anything. Like, I'm going to be like the guy that bolts the brakes together or something.
We're down in the lower floors, and they're like, employee number 57. You're like, that's Boovy. Oh no, Boovy's in trouble now. Boovy didn't plug in the network cable. Oh, and we're just like,
yeah.
I think it would be more fun at Red Bull for that because they'd have wacky weekends. But I think Mercedes, from the sounds of it, run a tighter ship.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, I couldn't come with my shirt untucked or something like that. Whereas Red Bull, if I turn up in a t-shirt, we're fine. Yeah. Now, see, that's where Aston Martin would probably be even better because I get the impression that it's a bit of a lawless society where you've got this Santa figure that's just throwing money around.
Dave, I reckon depending on whose team you're on, if you're on Rookie of the Year's team, it's not too bad. It's when you've got to go over and help, Buggerlug's, special gentleman, and he's like, hey, Dave, did you see me on the weekend? You're like, yes, Lance. I was pretty good, wasn't I? Yes, Lance. What are you doing for lunch? Oh, I brought my own lunch. No. Daddy's got the helicopter. You can come with me. Yeah. We're going to get, pheasant. And you're like,
I've got the black Amex.
Yeah. And you'll be like, my wife made me sandwiches. No, don't make sandwiches. You come with me. We're going on the helicopter. We're now best friends. And you're like, no, I want to. Boovy's got his.
Help.
Boovy brought his Xbox to work and we're going to play it at lunchtime. No, we're going in the helicopter. Come with me.
I get flight sickness.
I reckon it would just be, that would be an awkward place. I think Ferrari would be as structured as Mercedes. And
I think Ferrari would be a bit more casual. And you get to live in Italy.
True. You know what I think would be the more awkward one, Dave? And I think
it's just a language.
McLaren would be David Brent with Zach Brown. He's 100% David Brent, just walking around, because he'd walk around and go, hey, Dave, candle. And you're like, what's that? And he's like, I've got a candle. I'm like, I can see that, Zach, but I'm trying to design a bolt for Lando's car. Yeah, but I got a candle. Yeah. And he's like, thank you, Zach, but can I get back to work? Okay.
They have got a pretty cool factory, though.
Yeah, they do. Oh, it's a great looking place.
Yeah, the MTC is pretty special.
I feel like Zach right now is pretty awkward when they win the constructors this year, because Checo has obviously done a deal with them, and he's like, he goes, you guys want the championship? I will give you the championship.
I don't think it's so much McLaren winning the constructors as Checo losing the constructors.
Yeah. Dave, that makes it sound like McLaren didn't earn it. When
it's all semantics. Like the outcome's the same, but
basically, if he wins that, he will be unbearable David Brent when he thinks he's getting that job. He'll walk around and be like, "Have you seen my trophy? Yeah, it's my trophy. Yeah, I got a trophy. hey guys, come downstairs. There's a constructors in the reception area. Everyone come down. Have a look. Zach, we've done this 4 times this week and it's only Tuesday. I know. Come down. And then he'll walk past and be things like, hey, Dave, have you seen my polishing cloth? What polishing cloth, Zach? You know the one I used to clean the Constructors Championship? The little logo. It's me. There's me. I got it. And I think the other team that would be the best to work for is obviously Bottas and Forgotten Chinaman, because they don't seem to work. They seem to just go on the internet and they go, hey, Dave, I've seen a meme I want to do.
Swiss labour laws, I think they're only allowed to do like 6 hours a day, 4 days a week or something. And then, it's all pretty casual.
Yeah. But
I'm under the impression...
Audi binding, will they move to Germany then?
No,
that's still...
I reckon
they'll stay to the factory setup.
Okay.
I think their marketing team runs that F1 team. They go to Bottas and go,
yeah,
we're not getting points this year. But you know what we are going to do? We're going to put you in a funny outfit, and then you're going to do a little dance. And what about the car? No time for that. We're going to do a funny video. Also, are you going to do a lap of the circuit on your bike? Yep. Do that. It's probably the only clean lap you'll get this whole entire weekend. Let's film you, doing that. In fact, let's try to enter the bike instead of our F1 cars. That way we can save money.
We'll have quicker pit stops.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to just see who's the big guy for Red Bull. You know that massive guy with the dreads? I'd like to see him just lift up a driver off the two wheels and then try and put new wheels in the pretty much and drive him off.
Or the wheel jack guy from Mercedes.
Which one?
The front jack guy from Mercedes. The big guy.
Oh, who's the one that Oscar took out in the race ago? He did the Lance.
One.
Yeah, he did the Lance and went.
Yeah. He didn't do the full in, but he did. Send him back a bit.
Well, no,
he didn't do
because
the full take
Lance
out.
doesn't do anything by halves. He just if he's going to smash into something, he's going to let you know.
Full commitment.
Yeah.
Again, like I would imagine most F1 drivers, if they did that, they would come down and be like, "Here you go, you can have my race suit or something," and you'd be like, "What's that, David?" "Oh, that's Fernando's race suit when he basically took me out." And he's like, because I broke a bone, but you know what? I have Fernando's race suit. I would be hit by Fernando's car if it meant I got a race suit from him. I imagine Lance is just like, what was he doing? Why was he there, Dad? What was he doing there? Why is he there?
He was in the way.
Dad, they're meant to be
Tell
at
him
the
not to
wheels.
stand there.
Yeah, he's meant to be at the wheels, not the front of the car. Why was he even there, Dad? Tell him off.
Yeah.
You know what? Fire him. I don't even want him here.
Why did they move the pit crew?
Next time I don't want him there. Put a witch's hat so I know when to stop. or one of those wiggly wavelly arm things that just go, no man, stop. Oh.
I think we've covered off all the
well,
notes for this week.
We have one very important question which I've now just highlighted. Do we know the upgrades Sonny and Joshua are getting for their new car? Because I have their points here on my spreadsheet. Yep. They're not doing very well, Dave.
What would they be?
I think the premise of the story is that they start off pretty ordinary, and then whatever his name is, the old bloke.
But I don't know, Dave. 7. I don't want to ruin it for you, and everyone will forget this by the time the movie comes out. But Brad Pitt, Sonny, actually got disqualified in his last race.
Yeah.
Oh, the last race, because I think what happens is then Sonny teaches Token how to race or whatever, and they do the thing where they go faster in the corners.
I was going to say,
and
Dave,
then I think
slower and then faster in the corners.
Yeah, and then I think they end up winning a race, like the last race of the movie or whatever.
Or is it going to be like an American way of doing F1 where none of the races beforehand count and it all comes down to the championship race? And let me guess, Dave, it's set in Abu Dhabi and there's an Australian race director. He's like, all right, Sonny, we're going to let all the unlapped cars overtake each other. And then the villain of the movie, we'll call him Slomilton. He's like, no, you can't allow this to happen. Sonny's got new tires and I don't have new tires. And then the race director of the bad guys team, we'll call him Boto. Boto sits there and he's like, no, Schmeichel, you can't allow this to happen. And then Sonny's like, what we're doing is we're going racing. And then it cuts to him going around a corner super fast. And then he finishes the race and then a million fireworks go off.
Oh, jeez.
I think it's something like that.
So you think they're magically going to have an excellent second half of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the premise of the story, like Days of Thunder, pretty much.
Well, Dave, if they do manage to win, it will be the greatest comeback on earth because they are in double-digit points. And
No,
they
they went with the championship.
Well, in the constructors, they're 80 odd points, which puts them.
That's pretty good. They're nearly Aston Martin.
Yeah, but in terms of points, they're 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're not winning.
That's actually that's really good in this day and age.
Yeah.
Well,
for a new team with F2 cars, like, and a bloke who's about 65.
I mean, it just sounds like the story of Papa Stroll's team.
No, but he's a special rookie in the main seat at Papa Stroll's team.
Oh, and I didn't realize this, but Sonny got pole position at the Belgium Grand Prix.
There you go.
Yeah.
See,
he's on the instance.
They're going to have a strong second half of the year.
Oh, no, here we go.
I'm predicting wins.
Oh, also, I don't know if you're aware, but Sonny used to test with Sauber. There's a photo of him with the old Petronas Red Bull testing suit.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So he's also they thanked Nick De Vries for his racing talent. Just randomly.
Was that a piss take or?
No, that's a legitimate picture of.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Can I put this in here? Yes. Can I? It's no, I can't post it. No one. I think the filter of Nick De Vries has kicked in, and he's not allowing me to.
You can't share Nick De Vries with everyone.
I think they're giving the impression that he was a test driver for them.
Oh,
and now he's moved on.
Okay.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for an incredible season. We are grateful for your talent, dedication, and friendship. You'll always be a part of the Apex GP family. Checkered flag.
Friendship. Jeez.
I mean, if he's in that movie, instant Oscar. I mean, there's nothing. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was qualified. Yeah, so Joshua finished P3 in Belgium.
Okay.
So I think that's
Sonny got disqualified.
Yeah. So Dave, do you want to make a prediction about the fictional F1 team and their fictional movie and their positioning at the end of the year?
Yeah, they're going to win. Yeah.
No, actually, you know what? Dave, Boovy, you can too. I need you to tell me the position of both Sonny and Joshua, and I need to know their constructors' positioning.
What,
in the drivers and the constructors?
Yep. And Joshua. So, Boovy, where does Sonny finish?
6th.
6th. All right. Dave?
5th.
5th. And where does Joshua finish? Remember, he's the younger one, Boovy.
8th.
He's an up-and-comer, though. So, does he do better? Or does he get taught? Okay. And Dave, where does...
7th.
7th. So, you've both got him not beating the old man.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
He won't.
Now, where do they finish in the constructors?
4th.
That'd be like mid-table, so I reckon probably 6th or 7th.
You want? Boovy, you got to be. You can't say 6 or 7. It's an exact science.
I'll take 6.
All right, I've put it into the
predictions calculator.
I put it into the predictions online sheets.
Is this?
And we will come back and review this.
Yeah, we've just got to remember all this stuff.
Oh no, I've written it on Matt's special.
Okay. Matt docs.
Special Matt docs. Now, Has anyone else been watching Fast and the Furious at lunchtime on Foxtel?
No.
You are missing out because the more you watch Fast and the Furious, the more you realize it is the greatest, dumbest series on the planet.
Oh, no, we already understand that.
No, but Dave, you don't understand. The more you watch it, it's like a magic eye. The more you look at it, the more you see. It's just, I don't know if I said this last week, but there is a funeral scene when one of their mates dies, and in the scene, Ludacris, Letty, whoever the Letty and all that, they're all wearing black, as you do at a funeral. Vin Diesel, on the other hand, has just gone, you know what? Screw the dead. I'm just going to wear my leather jacket because I look sick. And then he sees another car, gets in his runs away in his, leaves the funeral, doesn't tell anyone why, not wearing the outfit, and then gets in his car and goes for a drive. Doesn't tell anyone where he's going. That's it. Another thing I remember, do you remember number 1, Dave? Many years back. It's like 20-something years old.
Yep.
Do you remember where Vin Diesel used to work?
In the mechanics.
No.
Yeah, he was a mechanic. Oh, he had the sandwich shop.
He had the sandwich shop. Where's the sandwich shop gone? Gone. You know why? Because no one orders tuna from the sandwich shop except Paul Walker.
It doesn't fit the story anymore.
No. Oh, there's just so much bonkers. You know, the only character I think makes sense in the whole movie, and they even mention him in like number 9, is Tyrese when he says, "Why have none of us been killed? Am I invincible? Maybe I am." And then he goes on
he thinks he's Deadpool.
Yeah, he basically thinks he's Deadpool and never dies. Also, I forgot how bad Vin Diesel and The Rock's acting is, especially when they talk to each other, because normally it's an actor in a cardboard box, but this one it's 2 cardboard boxes like, Vin, I thought you'd never show up. Yeah, well, I found 2
cardboard boxes that fucking hate each other.
Yeah, but also, I found this out ages ago, but they have a clause, supposedly, where they can't lose, and they both have to throw the same amount of punches.
Just on that, because you've been watching it more, has Vin Diesel's acting actually got worse over the time? Because I don't remember it being as bad like Fast and Furious 1, like me really going like, this guy can't act. Whereas then I
think it's more of a nostalgia thing, Dave.
No.
Is it?
Dave,
yeah.
It's plateaued. So basically, he starts off and he's like, I don't have friends, I have family. Or he's like, you didn't have me, you didn't have your car. And then you think maybe it'll get better. And then halfway through, he says that iconic line, "This is Brazil," unnecessary. And then he's got the.
I think that was because of the Brazil funding for that movie.
Oh,
that they had to, fit that in.
That's why if Lance ever wins a race, he's got to go, "This is Papa Stroll." Papa, thank you. And then there's the one where he pretends that he knows how a car engine works with the put it in reverse. Now, Dave, I'm more engineer-minded than car-minded, but I know about gear ratios, right? So when you set a car ratio, you have gear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it gets increasingly smaller, right? So when you get that top speed, it's not turning as much, but you're going faster, right? And reverse is usually mapped at roughly the same as reverse, right? They're both kind of the same ratio. So roughly the same, right? When you put a car in first, you take off, and then you get to second. First only gets you to about 20, 30 kilometers before you're, red lighting it. In the Fast and the Furious, when you put the car in reverse, it magically turns into
a 6-speed reverse box.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it turns into like an auto. What is it? The CVT, like just infinite gears, because he puts it into reverse, and then all of a sudden you can do 180 backwards, while the other car, who's already got up to 6th gear, he's like, I've won this race. That car's on fire. Vin Diesel's like, that's what I want you to think. I've got my little Coke can thing. I'm going to clip that. The car's going to turn into a death trap, and I'm going to drive into that crowd of people and not care about anybody. You know how many people he's probably murdered from vehicular manslaughter? A lot.
Yeah.
Like the amount of damage he has done and does not care. He has no remorse for anything he does.
So when's the next one coming out?
Next year or the year after. Get this, Booby. Ludacris had the nerve to say there's a script, but he hasn't read it yet.
Oh my God.
I've never heard. Like,
do you reckon he just like turns up though, like first day of shooting, and they're like, "Here's your lines for the day," and he's like, "Oh, cool story, bro."
I reckon, Dave, he turns up and he's like, "I'm driving a Charger. We got that, Vin." He goes, No, but this time it's black." And they're like, "Oh, brave choice." He goes, "And I get to say like a cool line like, I have family." And he's like, "All right, Vin, it's all on the list here." He goes, "Also, I've got to wear the height shoes because everyone I act against is taller than me. So also don't stand too close to me." Remember when we had that problem with The Rock where he always had to be crouching or it was distanced? That's another thing that you start noticing. He's always wearing shoes. As my better half has pointed out to me, why is he wearing shoes on the beach? No one needs to wear shoes on the beach.
Some people do.
Some people just want to feel safe.
Yeah.
I think, though, one of the best lines was the ad-lib line where Vin Diesel The Rock comes in and he says you got to use that baby oil on top of your head. I think that's probably one of the best lines. And Tyrese in number 2, "What's to eat? We're hungry," because that's universally used everywhere.
Yeah.
But overall, it is a great movie to watch while eating lunch.
Okay.
And I recommend everyone.
I'll take your word for it.
Yep.
Oh, I'll send you photos, Dave. It boggles my mind that they've made 10. Is it 10?
Yeah.
I can't remember now.
There's going to be 10.
Yeah, but idiots like us keep and go and watch them.
And then there's going to be part 11, and they finally finish it.
Do they though, Booby?
Yeah, they said 11 was going to be the last one.
People say a lot of things.
Also, I think in number 10 they even make jokes about it because one of the characters, like, how did they start off just robbing DVD players, which again has dated badly, and now they're flying to the moon?
Yeah.
None of them are engineers like of that level. They built cars. They killed off the best character in the first one. What's his name? Jesse. You know, when he races the triad, remember? Yeah. And then they kill him. Spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen number 1, but it's 23 years old.
Yeah.
Jesse dies. He gets shot by Yakuza or something. Oh, that's another thing I remember, Dave. In number 1, we've all remember the rotary engine that turns into a 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah.
The danger to manifold, and yet the floor falls out. Vin Diesel then gets into the car and doesn't go, "Hey, bro, why do you have no floor in your car?" Because then Paul Walker would just say, "Obviously, danger to the manifold. Do you not know anything about cars?" And he'd be like, "Sorry about that." Then we remember in the race, Dave, he uses up all his NOS, but he uses it too early because Vin Diesel points out to himself, "Hey, you used up all the NOS by yourself." Then when they shoot the car, Vin Diesel yells out NOS and they dive, and then a magic bottle of NOS is refilled to explode.
Well, it's regenerative NOS.
Oh, it's like in a video game. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe he was beating up who was the character? He was a main character and he was beating him up because then Han comes back and then they have the fight scene. And and then they have another fight scene for some reason, and then they become everyone becomes friends in the end, though.
They become family.
Oh, actually, you're right. Sorry, there's no friends in the movie. It's just family. Friends has Ross and Rachel in it. Family has Vin Diesel. Everyone knows that.
The 11th is going to be called Fast and Family.
Fast Family. Family for life. Overall, B+.
And on that note,
I'm going to go on Amazon and see if I can buy the 4K box set.
Good luck.
Do you really want it?
Yes.
Don't ask those kind of questions.
4K.
Well, the funny thing is, when YouTube offered free movies to keep, guess which movie I got for free?
Fast and
We
Furious.
bought a zoo.
Fast and Furious 1.
Yeah.
And Pacific Rim for some reason.
I mean, they can't all be winners.
They can't all be winners. Yeah, I know that.
So if I want the 9 Blu-ray collection, $156.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Would it be worth waiting until the others come out though?
Yes.
To get the collection all, in one set.
Exactly.
I'll get the full pack.
Yeah.
There might be some special edition hard case thing or whatever they do with it.
I would want it to come in a skyline, and you open it up, and it's in the skyline, or the charger.
The charger.
The charger?
The charger.
Yeah.
I don't think the charger's become as iconic as all the JDM cars, to be fair.
Yeah, but that's
Dom's car.
Dom's car, yeah.
Yeah. His car seems to...
Matt's not convinced.
The problem is he
sticks
sticks to the same car every time.
Yeah. That's why it's the Fast and Furious car.
Well, that's the other thing that I have many complaints about. I don't know if you remember, but they have a plan where they back the car out of an airplane and parachute down.
Yep.
Most people pick an all-terrain vehicle. Dom's like, no, I need a black charger. Also, if you notice on that car, there are spare tires on it. Dom, if your tires blow up while you're trying to take down a Russian paramilitary, you don't have time to replace the tires. Why are the tires there? No one's pulling over to help you. Like, it's unnecessary weight.
I think you're focusing on micro issues with the movie.
Matt, you're talking about people.
The macro.
Let's make it look better. That's it.
I'm just saying he's adding more weight for an unnecessarily heavy car already. He could have gone more faster and more furious if he didn't have the two back wheels, defeating the purpose of his initial vision of his car. Fast, furious. The only person getting furious is Vin Diesel because his car can't go fast enough. He's like, why have I got this weird ballast and I'm just constantly doing wheelies? It's because you got too much weight in the back, Vin Diesel. Rant over for now.
Well, for more of Matt's ramblings, we'll be back next week.
Exactly.
I'll watch more Fast and the Furious.
Sounds good.
Catch us up on all of that.
Family for life.
All right. We'll see everyone next week.